Why does trying to drink less feel so mentally exhausting? I get this question from clients all the time. In fact, I know the exhaustion too well personally. I remember the days when I first tried to cut down on alcohol. Already convinced my life would be better with less alcohol, somehow I still find myself caught in the inner negotiation almost every day, going back and forth between should I drink today? Does this situation justify a drink? How about just one? The inner back and forth was so exhausting. Sometimes I would give in, not because I really wanted to drink, but just to put an end to the inner debate so that peace could be restored. If you find yourself facing a similar struggle, you are not alone. Why the brain keep reopening the question? In what I call the invisible drinking loop, drinking is not seen as an isolated behavior, but as a well-practiced routine that serves a purpose in your life. As a seasoned drinker progresses further into their drinking career, drinking gradually becomes a default strategy to respond to various situations and needs. Over time, it also becomes linked to more and more cues throughout the daily life, from emotional discomfort to social interaction, from the first sign of tension in our body to the moment we clock out from work. After enough repetition, the process becomes automatic. Once a cue is spotted, alcohol becomes a go-to response to shift emotional states, addressing unmet need, or navigate daily life. The hidden exhaustion of decision fatigue. Even when you consciously decide that drinking less is good for you, the brain still habitually reaches for the old routine whenever an old drinking cue is spotted. Each time it opens up the loop of negotiation, whether to drink, how much to drink, and when to stop. This creates dozens of decision points each day, and at some points, decision fatigue happens. You give in, not always out of pure desire, but sometimes out of exhaustion. To break the old drinking loop, we need not just willpower, but emotional tools and behavioral skills that replace drinking and help you fulfill the purpose that alcohol once served in your life. For that to happen, we need enough time and space to pause the old drinking patterns and replace them with new strategies. That's why, whether your eventual goal is abstinence or moderation, I recommend a 30-day reset to allow new skill to emerge and allow new pathway to form. You don't have to choose between abstinence and moderation. When trying to change our relationship with alcohol, many people mistakenly think that we have to make a one-time permanent decision and choose between moderation and abstinence. But the truth is, we don't. In fact, a premature forced decision sometimes hurts more than it helps. Choose to commit to a lifetime abstinence, we often feel panic and overwhelmed. And choosing moderation, we end up draining our energy in the inner negotiation about whether and how much to drink each day, leaving little room to actually focus on breaking the old drinking pattern and learning new replacement skills. A 30-day reset is a middle ground that bridges the gap between the two options. In the real world, most people don't know whether moderation or abstinence is the right path for them until they create enough space from alcohol. A 30-day reset allows you to create that space and decide if moderation or abstinence is most aligned path for this stage of your life. How temporary restriction lead to more freedom. One of the biggest myths we have been taught is that more options always means more freedom. In the creative world, there is a concept called constraint-induced creativity. It's about using deliberate restriction to unlock greater creativity and freedom. When you limit your options, your brain stops scanning endless for the best choice and start to working deeply on what is available. While a temporary restriction may sound limiting at first, it can actually create more mental space and freedom. The same principle is behind the 30-day reset. With a time-bounded commitment to remove alcohol from the table, you may be surprised to find out when the option leaves the table, the mental noise often goes with it. The trade-off is temporarily limiting your option. The payoff is more peace, clarity, and space to focus on what you actually want to accomplish. Interrupt the invisible drinking loop. Planning for a successful reset. If you would like to try out the reset in your own journey, plan ahead is the key. Having supportive replacement activity during your usual drinking window can make a big difference. My favorite reset activity is guided journaling, because writing not only helps interrupt the old drinking pattern, but also provides space for emotional processing and relief, the very things a drinking routine often tries to provide. If you'd like to get started, I offer a free 7-day journal prompt guide to support you through the first week of your reset. You can check it on my website. I will put the link down in the description section.